Some of you know why I'm interested in the solid shampoo market. It's an incredible indicator of the environmental transition, as I've already explained in my previous posts. First, we're moving from a plastic bottle to cardboard packaging. And if solid shampoos were to gain 20 points of market share, we would save ourselves 1,000 tons of plastic per year in France. Secondly, because we avoid putting trucks on the road that are just hauling water. A bottle of shampoo is 80% water. Here, solids took 20 points of market share, which would mean a drop in freight of around 10,000 tons per year. Thirdly, because solid shampoo leads to less water usage by consumers, with the potential to save around 2 billion liters of water per year in France. And also, there are fewer preservatives in solid shampoo, which means less pollution in the oceans, in the soil, and in our bodies. But as you know, it's not working, since the market share by volume has been continuously declining for the past 3 years, reaching 1.3% in 2024, as we already saw on the chart displayed on the screen. And we saw in our previous analysis that neither price nor promotions seem to be the right levers to grow this category. On the other hand, we highlighted the crucial role of the share of assortment, a lever that, unfortunately, retailers have not acted on over the past 3 years. So today, we're going to focus on another variable that retailers can control: shelf placement, the positioning of products in the aisles. And in this area, I discovered that it's a real mess. I actually went to observe in 2 stores from each retailer, chosen at random, both in the Paris region and in the provinces, to see whether the solid shampoo products were placed next to their larger bottled counterparts, or, on the contrary, isolated and possibly grouped together in a dedicated space elsewhere in the health and beauty aisle. I also checked whether these products were displayed at eye level, at hand level, or rather all the way at the top or bottom of the shelves. And so there's a bit of everything. At Monoprix, for the same product, sometimes they're placed together, sometimes they're separated. At Intermarché, in 2 out of the 3 stores I visited, they were placed together. But when they're separated, they're sometimes all the way at the top or at the bottom. So if there are merchandising guidelines at Intermarché, they don't seem to be very strictly followed. At Carrefour, they seem to be placed separately, even though the store's merchandising guidelines suggest they should be placed together. Sometimes they're at the top, sometimes in the middle of the shelves. At Market, the little sister, sometimes they're together, sometimes separated, sometimes all the way at the top, sometimes at the bottom. That's probably the joy of a chain now made up mostly of franchise stores. At Match, my little cousin, they're always placed together. At Leclerc, they're always well separated and all grouped within the same section. At Auchan, they're definitely separated and sometimes found in the organic section. Why not? And alternately placed at the top of the shelf or in the middle. And finally, at You, they're separated and all the way at the top, which doesn't seem to give them much of a chance. So it's a real mess. I've rarely seen such a wide range of placement strategies between different retailers. Well, actually, I don't know where the truth lies in everything I've seen. Actually, yes, I do think it's better not to place products all the way at the top or at the bottom. But as for whether products should be placed together or separately, I'm not certain. Even so, as long as household penetration remains quite low, I think it would be better to place them together. But that's something each retailer can assess for themselves. So, to get back to the main point, I tend to think that given the issues of plastic, supply chain, water consumption, and preservatives, this is a category where we should be making an effort. It's a category where retailers could exercise their influence, their power over the product offering for a more sustainable world. And so first, most likely place the solid products next to the liquid ones, which is the case in less than 20% of the stores I've observed. Secondly, give the product a real chance by placing it on the right shelf. And when more than 45% of the stores visited placed these products on the very top shelf and 10% on the very bottom, well, that doesn't help the category. And it's all the more regrettable because, as I've already mentioned, due to the relatively low price elasticity of demand, retailers have an opportunity to achieve significant margin growth by supporting this category. It should be good for business. So to conclude our 3 analyses, we are dealing with a very strong marker of the environmental transition, which is based on the creation of new uses and the creation of a new market. This takes some time, and manufacturers do indeed have the responsibility to invest in order to stimulate demand. Moreover, we have established that retailers already have the ability to positively influence this market through two levers: assortment and merchandising. It's in their hands. Distribution holds this power, the power of supply for a more sustainable world. Thank you for following these 3 episodes of my second research project, and I will now turn my attention to the plant-based beverage market, which represents a significant lever for decarbonizing our consumption.